Welcome to our documentary on the 20 most controversial love affairs in history. From powerful political unions to forbidden passions that defied social norms, these love stories weren't just scandalous, they shaped the course of history, sparked revolutions, and left legacies that still resonate today. Some brought down empires, others altered the very fabric of society. Today, we'll delve into these passionate entanglements, exploring how love and power intersected in ways that would change the world forever. Number 1. Cleopatra VII and Julius Caesar. Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, was involved in a legendary affair with Julius Caesar, the leader of the Roman Republic. Their relationship not only defied Roman conventions but also had profound political consequences. Their son, Caesar Ion, was claimed by Cleopatra to be Caesar's heir, which further enraged the Senate in Rome. Their romance led to Rome's deeper involvement in Egyptian politics and set the stage for the eventual rise of Augustus and the Roman Empire. Number 2. Napoleon Bonaparte and Josephine de Beauharnais. Napoleon's love for Josephine de Beauharnais is legendary, but their marriage was fraught with scandal. Napoleon, rising from obscurity, married Josephine, a widow with 2 children, but their relationship was marred by infidelities, including Josephine's affairs with other men. Napoleon eventually divorced Josephine, though he was deeply affected by their parting. The breakup didn't stop him from conquering Europe. He would marry the Austrian Archduchess Marie-Louise, but his feelings for Josephine remained clear until his death. Number 3. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Though not a scandalous affair by modern standards, the romance between Queen Victoria and Prince Albert was controversial in its time due to their strong devotion to one another. Their passionate love defied the traditional, arranged nature of royal marriages. The Queen's mourning after Albert's death was so intense that she wore black for the rest of her life, demonstrating how deeply their union impacted the British monarchy. Number 4. Queen Victoria and Abdul Karim. In the final years of her reign, Queen Victoria developed an unlikely and scandalous friendship with Abdul Karim, an Indian Muslim servant who became her personal attendant. The two shared a close intimate bond, and Karim even became a confidant of the Queen. This affair caused a stir at the British court, with many labeling it an embarrassing scandal due to the racial and class divisions that existed at the time. Number 5. Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. The infamous affair between King Henry VIII of England and Anne Boleyn led to the English Reformation. Henry's desire to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon in order to marry and set off a chain of events that resulted in the English Church's break from the Catholic Church. Anne was executed for treason just 3 years after their marriage, but her daughter, Elizabeth, would become one of England's greatest monarchs. Number 6. Lord Byron and Lady Caroline Lamb. The passionate affair between the poet Lord Byron and Lady Caroline Lamb was scandalous for both its intensity and its public fallout. Lady Caroline, already married to another man, pursued Byron, who would later describe her as mad, bad, and dangerous to know. The affair ended in disgrace, and Lady Caroline's obsession with Byron led to a series of humiliating public confrontations, including the publication of her novel, Glenarvan, which portrayed Byron as a villain. Number 7. Louis XIV and Madame de Montespan. The affair of the poisons. Under the reign of Louis XIV of France, the affair of the poisons rocked the French court. The king's mistress, Madame de Montespan, was implicated in a scandalous conspiracy to poison rivals. While the affair itself was filled with passion and intrigue, it ultimately led to the downfall of several prominent figures, as the court became embroiled in accusations of witchcraft, poisonings, and the black arts. Number 8. Marie Antoinette and Count Axel von Fersen. Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France, had a rumored affair with Count Axel von Fersen, a Swedish nobleman. Although the nature of their relationship is still debated by historians, their emotional bond was well known at the French court. Their closeness added to the Queen's unpopularity, as the French revolutionaries viewed her as out of touch with the suffering of her people. The rumors of her affair with Fersen only contributed to her downfall during the French Revolution. Number 9. Elizabeth I and Robert Dudley. Queen Elizabeth I, often called the Virgin Queen, had a close and complicated relationship with Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester. Though they never married, their romantic bond was a subject of intense speculation throughout Elizabeth's reign. Their relationship was controversial because of Dudley's previous marriage to a woman who mysteriously died, leading many to believe the affair was one of intrigue and scandal that could have altered the course of English history. Number 10. Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. One of the most controversial love affairs in American history involves President Thomas Jefferson and his enslaved mistress, Sally Hemings. Historians have long debated the nature of their relationship, with many believing Jefferson fathered several of Hemings' children. The affair remained hidden for many years, and Hemings was kept in a position of forced subjugation, even though she and Jefferson had a deeply complicated, though controversial, bond. Number 11. Alexander the Great and Roxana. One of history's most famous conquerors, Alexander the Great, fell deeply in love with Roxana, a princess from the region of Bactria, modern-day Afghanistan, during his campaigns in the east. The union was not only romantic but politically strategic, cementing alliances with powerful eastern tribes. Roxana's beauty captivated Alexander, and their marriage was celebrated as part of his broader vision of blending Greek and Persian cultures. However, following Alexander's untimely death in 323 BCE, Roxana's status as queen was disputed, and she was eventually murdered in a power struggle. Despite her tragic end, their son, Alexander IV, was briefly recognized as ruler before the Macedonian Empire collapsed. Number 12. Catherine the Great and Grigory Potemkin. Catherine the Great, Empress of Russia, had a legendary and politically significant love affair with Grigory Potemkin. Though she had many lovers throughout her reign, Potemkin was her most trusted companion, and their affair was deeply intertwined with political and military ambitions. Their bond was instrumental in securing Catherine's hold on power, and Potemkin served as one of her key advisors, helping to expand the Russian Empire. Number 13. Marie de' Medici and Concino Concini. Marie de' Medici, the Queen of France, and her lover Concino Concini were embroiled in scandal and intrigue at the French court. Marie, who became regent for her son, Louis XIII, while he was still a child, was said to have a passionate affair with Concini, an Italian nobleman. Their illicit relationship and power grabs led to the eventual murder of Concini, causing political upheaval. Number 14. Peter the Great and Catherine I. Peter the Great's affair with Catherine I, who would eventually become the Empress of Russia, had major political ramifications. Though their relationship began as a love affair, it quickly grew into a partnership that helped Catherine rise to power. After Peter's death, Catherine succeeded him, and her rule marked the end of the Romanov dynasty's transition into an even more centralized autocracy. Number 15. Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas. Oscar Wilde, one of the most celebrated playwrights and poets of the 19th century, was involved in a scandalous and often tortured relationship with Lord Alfred Douglas, a young man of aristocratic lineage. Wilde's affair with Douglas eventually led to his infamous trial for gross indecency, as homosexuality was illegal in England at the time. Wilde was imprisoned, and his life would never be the same. Number 16. François I and Diane de Poitiers. One of the most infamous love affairs in French history was between King François I and his mistress, Diane de Poitiers, who was over 20 years his senior. Despite the age gap, their sexual relationship was well documented and highly influential at the French court. Diane, a noblewoman with striking beauty and intelligence, became François' most trusted confidant and advisor. Their affair began when François was still married to Queen Claude, and Diane remained his lover throughout his reign. Even after François' death in 1547, Diane's influence continued as she maintained a dominant role in the court of François' son, Henry II. Diane's status as both a lover and a political ally made her one of the most powerful women in France, though her relationship with François was scandalous due to her age and the public nature of their affair. Number 17. Richard Wagner and Cosima Liszt. Composer Richard Wagner's affair with Cosima Liszt, the daughter of famed pianist Franz Liszt, caused scandal throughout the European musical world. Cosima was married to the conductor Hans von Bülow, but her passion for Wagner led her to leave him and marry the composer. Their relationship had deep cultural and artistic consequences, with Wagner's work profoundly shaping the future of music. Number 18. Lord Byron and Augusta Lee. Apart from his scandalous relationship with Lady Caroline Lamb stated earlier in this documentary, Lord Byron's personal life was also marked by his deeply controversial connection with his half-sister, Augusta Lee. The two shared a complicated bond that became the subject of public gossip and scandal in the early 19th century. Although they grew up apart, their relationship became emotionally intense after Byron's return to England, and rumors of an incestuous affair between them quickly spread. While it remains unclear whether their relationship was physically consummated, Augusta became pregnant in 1814, with some speculating that Byron may have been the father. Their affair, though never fully acknowledged, was seen as a reflection of Byron's larger-than-life persona, a man who lived outside societal norms and whose personal life was as infamous as his literary works. Number 19. Charles II and Nell Gwyn. Charles II, the King of England, had numerous mistresses, but Nell Gwyn was his most famous and beloved. A former actress, Gwyn's affair with the king was one of the most celebrated in English history. She rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most powerful women in the court, yet her relationship with the king was constantly scrutinized due to her low social status. Despite this, Charles openly adored her, and she remained influential at court until the king's death in 1685. Number 20. Jean-Paul Marat and Charlotte Corday. While not a traditional love affair, the passionate political motivations of Charlotte Corday, who assassinated the French revolutionary leader Jean-Paul Marat, were intertwined with an ideological and emotional commitment. Charlotte, a young woman from a royalist family, believed that by killing Marat, she could put an end to his radical influence during the French Revolution. Though they were never romantically involved, Corday's actions were driven by an intense personal conviction and the complex emotional landscape of revolutionary France. Marat was assassinated on July 13, 1793, and Corday was executed by guillotine shortly after. Thank you so much for watching our documentary on the 20 most controversial love affairs in history. We hope you enjoyed diving into these fascinating and often scandalous stories that shaped the world in unexpected ways. If you found the content engaging, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more historical deep dives and captivating narratives. Your support helps us continue bringing you thought-provoking documentaries. Let us know your favorite love affair in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.